Today, I just want to quickly cover an article that the BBC published a few weeks ago. Essentially, the article says that more people than ever before are avoiding the news, which is great news in many ways because people should be avoiding the news. Now, this article gets its data from a report conducted by Reuters, who are generally known for being quite trustworthy. The report found that 38% of people now go out of their way to avoid the news. This is up from 29% of people in 2017, which is a pretty sharp increase when you really think about it. Furthermore, it also found that 36% of people believe that the news affects their mood, which it undoubtedly does, and is something that I found myself. The report also found that in my home country of the UK, nearly half of people avoid the news. Now that is a pretty staggering figure that's great to see. The article also goes on to talk about how trustworthy people believe the news is. Now, I'm not really here to talk about the politics of that because really, why would I? It doesn't matter how trustworthy the news is because you shouldn't really be engaging with it in the first place. Regardless of that though, if you care about such things, apparently now 29% of people believe that the news is untrustworthy or biased. The article also makes an important point about the way that we consume the news that I'm actually going to quote from the article itself. As the phone has become our main route to the news, it has shifted many of us from fixed news meals to grazing, scrolling, and watching an endless stream of alerts and notifications pop. News has become omnipresent, and for an increasing number, a depressing intrusion. Now that is an incredibly important point. Back when people used to consume the news once a day or so, and then no more than that, it used to be far more manageable. After all, it's a lot easier to put down a newspaper, TV news, radio news, or something like that than it is to put down your phone. It almost seems that these days, the news follows you everywhere that you go. The last thing that the article covers is how people like to get their news these days. It finds that most people tend to get their news online or through social media, which is something that I think most of us already knew. We should definitely be concerned about this though, since it means that the news lives in people's pockets every single day through their smartphone, which as you'd imagine, is absolutely disastrous for people's mental health and well-being. The article also expands upon this by stating that younger generations are the most likely to use social media to get their news. In fact, less than a quarter of 18 to 24-year-olds get their news directly from a website or app, and I imagine that an even smaller percentage than that use offline news sources, which to me raises some concerns about the quality and veracity of news that this age group might be exposed to. After all, there is a lot of fake news and misinformation on social media. This leads me to be concerned that perhaps a whole generation might be becoming misinformed on a wide variety of important topics. So all in all, this article gives us a lot of good news and a lot of bad news. The good news is that lots of people are now actively avoiding the news, which is great. The bad news is that people are now moving to the internet and social media to get their news, which makes it all the more omnipresent, which is something that should definitely be of concern to all of us.